Hi Year 3, this is your computing lesson and we're going to focus on e-safety at the moment. So I'm going to share my screen, we're going to go through some slides together. I'm going to look at e-safety and the focus today is looking at cyberbullying. So I want you just to pause the screen and pause the video and have a think of what you think cyberbullying could be. Okay, so cyber is going to be something to do with the computer, and then have a think about what you think bullying is, and we're going to have a talk through it in a moment, but you have a think while you pause the video now, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so on the slide here, it says this term for computer, we're going to be looking at e-safety, which is what I've said. So we're looking at how we can stay safe on the computer. So it's really important every day to make sure that we're safe whenever we use any sort of devices, whether it's a phone, a tablet, a computer. But it's even more essential right now, just because we're using so many different devices, having our remote learning from home. I think it's really, really important that we just go over these things now. We're using Teams where you can all communicate with each other. So it's just we're going through the rules of that and what we need to make sure we're being careful not to do. So it says here, now's the time to learn why and how it's important to stay safe online. So our learning objective is, can I say what cyberbullying is and how to address it? So I've asked you to have a think of what you think cyberbullying is and have a think in your head of how could you solve it if you know that cyberbullying is happening. Okay, so bullying. What does this word mean? Now, there's been times in school where sometimes you've said something like, oh, someone's bullying me. I need you to have a think of what you think the exact definition of bullying is. So bullying, you might use the word to describe when somebody is intentionally mean or unkind more than once to another person. Intentionally. What does intentionally mean? I want you to have a think and talk to an adult if there's an adult in the room, or your teddy bear, or anything you've got at home to talk to. Somebody is intentionally mean. What does that mean? Okay, so intentionally means it's happening on purpose. They haven't done it by accident. They're intentionally means they know that they are doing it. Someone is being unkind or mean, and they know that they're doing that. And it happens more than once. So if you've got a friend who's being a bit unkind to you once because you've had a bit of a falling out with them, that doesn't mean they're bullying you. Maybe it just means they're a bit cross or a bit fed up with something that you've said. So it's something intentionally happening more than once. So cyberbullying is when this happens on a device. So it could be on the computer, on your phone, it could be any device that you might use to communicate with other people. So we use Teams quite a lot at the moment, especially when we have our live conversations and you can all talk to each other. So it's just making sure that we're not being unkind to people on there. So cyberbullying is the word we might use to describe when someone uses digital technology, so that's like our phone or our computer or our tablets, to be intentionally mean or unkind to someone more than once. So it's the same definition as bullying, but this time it's on a type of technology, not just in person. Okay, I'm going to read you 2 examples of bullying, and I'd like you to discuss with someone at home, so you're going to pause the video in a minute, which one you think is cyberbullying and which one you think is not. And I want you to think of a reason of why. So my first example A, is something is being done intentionally. So it's being done on purpose, like we've just said. The person being unkind knows that they are upsetting the other person, but does it anyway. It usually happens more than once or lasts a long time. And it uses any type of online or digital communication. For example, could be on an email, a text, social media, could be a message board like on our Teams. So there's that one. My example 2, or example B, is something hurtful was done by accident. They didn't realise they were doing it, or they did it by accident. The person that was unkind might not know that they have upset someone. Someone has said something unkind as a one-off comment, but it is not repeated, and online communication hasn't been used to be unkind. Now I'd like you to pause the video here and have a think of which one you think is cyberbullying and why. Okay. Now, if you said example B, we can go through it. So it says something hurtful was done by accident, so it's not intentional. They haven't done it on purpose. And what we said with cyberbullying was. It was a one-off comment. It wasn't repeated. It didn't happen again and again. And they did not use a method of online communication. They didn't use technology to be unkind. So example B is not an example of cyberbullying. Example A is something is being done intentionally. The person being unkind knows what they are doing. It does happen more than once or over a long period of time. And it does happen through a digital communication or online communication. So example A is our example of cyberbullying. Okay, so I'm going to show you some scenarios now, and I want you to just have a think or talk to people in your room or talk to someone in your house. You need to decide whether they are cyberbullying or not. Okay, so here you receive an unkind message from a stranger playing an online game with you. So some of you might at home go on a PlayStation or an Xbox or a game on your tablet, and on there you might be able to play online games. Now you need to be really careful because some people on there can talk to you on there and they might not know who you are, you don't know who they are, and they might send some unkind messages to you. So here's an example of someone who's written, they're the worst player ever, don't play here again, it ruins it for the rest of us. Someone's being a bit unkind. Now, is that cyberbullying if that person has written that message once to someone? Have a think what you think it could be and talk to the person in your room or talk to your teddy bear. What do you think? Do you think that is an example of cyberbullying? Okay, it's not. Although the person isn't being very kind, they haven't purposely targeted you and it's not repeated behaviour. So it hasn't happened again and again and again. However, it's still an unkind thing to happen. So you need to think, what can you do? Now you can choose not to play this game again if there's going to be someone on there that's being unkind. But you should also let an adult know, and I'm going to come on to that in a minute. But someone who you trust, you need to make sure you let them know that this is happening, to make sure it doesn't happen again, and to make sure that you're not in a game that maybe you shouldn't be on, just to keep you safe, because that's what's most important here, is keeping you safe from people who are being a bit unkind. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so here's another one. So you find out that lots of your friends are in a group chat and have all been saying unkind things about you in it. So this person has written, I know, did you see his jacket today? He looks so stupid. So it's not a very kind thing to say. Someone else said, so glad he's not in this chat. And someone else said, his laugh is so funny, we were making fun of it in maths and he didn't even notice. Now I want you to think, is this cyberbullying? Again, you can pause the video, talk to someone in your house or talk to your teddy bear. What do you think this could be? Okay, this one is because they're purposely seeking you out. They're purposely being unkind to you. My only thing is just making sure this could be a one-off. So it could be a one-off, maybe you've had a falling out with friends, in which case it's not bullying. But if it's happening again and again, you need to make sure you let someone know. So if it's some friends in class, you need to maybe let your teacher know, or you can let a parent know. Again, let an adult know so that they can try and sort it out. Remember, it may not just be that you've fallen out with your friends and you're having a bit of a falling out and the next day you'll be friends again, in which case it isn't bullying. But if it's happening again and again and again, then you need to make sure you let somebody know so that we can sort it out to keep you safe. Okay, so possibly our last one for now. There might be a couple more, we'll have a look. So at school, some children are making fun of you because of your profile picture on a kid's game site. Some of you may play games, so you might play Minecraft, or there's lots of different games online that you might be playing. And you can create a little profile picture, the same that we can do on Teams as well. Some people are being a bit unkind about your picture on there. Have a think, do you think that is cyberbullying? Okay, so it's not cyberbullying because although they're not being very nice, they're not being mean to you online. So some children in the playground are being unkind to you. That's not cyberbullying. It also might not be bullying. It depends how often it happens. But again, you can let an adult know and they can try and sort it out for you. Okay, this one's a bit funny. This one's you've received a picture that you're not very happy with. So it could be a picture where you don't like the picture. Could be a photo of you that you're not happy with and you don't like someone having. So it's a picture and they keep emailing it to you to upset you. And it keeps happening. And you can see on my screen here, this person who I think is called Stephen has sent you an email and it's got the same picture again and again and again and again. Have a think. Is this cyberbullying? It's happening again and again to you. Okay, this is an example of cyberbullying because someone is digitally, they're being unkind to you, and they're intentionally, remember we used that word earlier on, they're on purpose, they're trying to make you upset. And it doesn't matter, they're not saying horrible things, they're showing you a picture again and again and again to make you upset. So again, think about how you could deal with the situation. Let an adult know. Let someone know that it's happening to you. Okay, and then this one, just going through what you think you should be able to do. So I've gone through earlier on, I've said making sure you tell an adult. Who do you think you could tell? What adults do you think you'd be able to tell to keep you safe and to stop this from happening? Okay, so I said earlier on, I said a teacher and I said a parent. Let's have a look at who else we could tell. So you could tell your teachers, you could tell the LSA in your classroom. So it could be Miss Cornell, it could be Miss Whelan, could be Mrs. Neimer. You could tell an auntie or an uncle, you could tell grandparents or a parent or a carer or an older brother or sister, anyone who you think you can trust and that wants to keep you safe. So we all want to keep you safe in school, and your mums and dads and older brothers and sisters, they all want to keep you safe. So make sure you let an adult know so that we can try and help if this was to happen. Now, it's really important because at the moment, we're all talking a lot on Teams, and that you might be sending each other pictures and that sort of thing. So just make sure that we're being kind to each other on Teams. Okay, you have got a task. I'm just going to talk to you very quickly about Teams before we carry on. I'm going to stop my share screen a second. So when you're on Teams, some of you can write to each other. You're writing comments to each other, which is lovely, and it's so nice to see that you're able to talk to each other and communicate, because I know a lot of you are missing that whilst you're at home. But just be really considerate of each other. Some people are sending messages to say, oh, why have you written my name like that? I'm not saying that's cyberbullying, because it's not, but just make sure you're being kind to each other. You're all at home, you're all maybe a bit tired of people. You might be a bit frustrated or fed up of being at home. All the children who are in school also might be a bit fed up of having to be in school with only a few of their friends. So just be really considerate of it and be kind to each other on Teams, so that we don't have any issues. Same with when you're talking to each other on the live video, where you can all see you, we can all hear you. Just make sure you're being considerate to let other people talk to their teacher in the live video so that everyone has a chance to speak to each other. Okay, so your activity for today's lesson is to think about what you have learned today and then answer the following questions. I want you to think about what is bullying. So remember, we use that word intentionally. I wonder if you can get that into your writing, intentionally. And then I'd like you to have a think. I'd like you to write down what are the different ways in which a person can be cyberbullied and what devices can be used. The devices, by that I mean a computer or a tablet. Think of some other things as well. And what different ways could it happen? So we had some examples earlier on where someone was sending a photo in an email. Have a think of the different ideas, and I'd like you to write it down for me and put it onto tapestry so that your teacher can see. Okay, we all just want to keep you safe, and so do your parents. We all just want to keep you safe, and that's why I think it's really important to go through these now, to make sure it's not happening. Now, stay safe at home, and I'll look forward to seeing these uploaded onto Tapestry. Bye.